This podcast is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save money when you bundle your home and auto policies. The process only takes minutes, and it can mean hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary, not available in all states.
Nordstrom brings you the season's most wanted brands. Skims, Mango, Free People, and Princess Polly. All under $100. From trending sneakers to beauty must-haves, we've curated the styles you'll wear on repeat this spring. Free shipping, free returns, and in-store pickup make it easier than ever. Shop now in stores and at Nordstrom.com.
Hey, I'm Candice Lim.
And I'm Nadira Goff, and you're listening to ICYMI.
In case you missed it.
Slate's podcast about internet culture.
And that's right, Nadira, you are back because my co-host Kate Lindsay is off on a well-deserved vacation. We'll hear more about that when she comes back, but for now, Nadira, I would ask how you're doing, but I already know. Because you just wrote a piece about none other than Jonas Con. Explain and expand, please.
I love that my brand is so strong because I got to talk to the Jonas Brothers, and every single time I see someone that I know and care about since then, that is the first thing they've asked me about. And it really just makes me so happy. The last few times I've tried to talk about it, I almost cried. But yes, basically, the Jonas Brothers have been in business for 20 years. And so they hosted a convention at the American Dream Mall in East Rutherford, New Jersey, to celebrate the 20th anniversary of the Jonas Brothers' Jonas Brothering. And the All-American Rejects were there. Very popular rock band of the mid-aughts. Big Time Rush showed up and surprised everyone. Big Time Rush being the very famous sort of Nickelodeon Jonas equivalent of a TV-based boy band of the era. Jay Shetty was there. Jay Shetty being like the monk turned celebrity wellness guru turned person who, I don't know, society just can't seem to escape for some reason. He was there and I was there. And truly, I had the time of my life and also wrote about it for Slate. And yeah, I don't know. It was amazing. It was weird. I had so many mall snacks. Lovely.
Oh. Can I ask you some questions? This is very Watch What Happens Live after like an episode of Summer House. You're Summer House, I'm Andy. Okay.
Absolutely.
Was this event free?
So it was mostly free. There were multiple stages, and each stage was ticketed. Some of those tickets were free. You just had to RSVP them in enough time if you were quick enough. Some of the stages offered VIP tickets that you did have to pay for. But for most people, it was free. And there was even a 2-hour Jonas Brothers concert at the end that was totally general admission, like even if you didn't get a chance to RSVP a free ticket before. So yeah, 80% free.
Okay. And you mentioned this is in a mall.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
Like, in my head, I'm seeing the meme of Zendaya performing Replay in a mall. Is it that vibe?
Yes, it is. It was very hinging on that era of nostalgia, right? Like, I talked to one fan who was there for my piece, and I asked him, had you ever seen a group perform in a mall before? And he actually said, yeah, Big Time Rush, who had performed at Jonas Con. And so it was totally full circle. There used to be this era in the early mid-aughts where, yeah, these sort of budding groups, especially boy bands, girl groups, would just go on these sort of mall tours. And this really felt like not only did the Jonas Brothers choose this location because it's in Jersey and they are Jersey boys and are also apparently the youngest people to be inducted into the New Jersey Hall of Fame, which exists. But I think they had it not only at that location because it's in Jersey, but also because it's in a mall and they're celebrating 20 years and they're really trying to capitalize on the nostalgia of the entire moment, I think.
Yeah. And it's funny because every time there is a Jonas Brothers headline, bad or good, I go to you directly. You are my source. And for those who are asking, why would the Jonas Brothers have a convention? They're not relevant. I'd say, you're wrong. Check into Nadira's Twitter. But my last remaining questions are like, Big Rob, Frankie Jonas. Where were they?
Frankie Jonas performed. He was one of the performers at one of the stages. Big Rob, also there, also performed. He even sang karaoke with fans
Wow.
It was insane. They transformed that whole mall into just an early Disney Channel, Jonas Brothers themed experience. They had taken over the Mrs. Field cookie place. They had taken over a pizza place and turned it into Jonas Pizza. They had Jonas themed escape rooms and mini golf and laser tag. Like, they really had taken over this mall in a way that I'd never seen before. And also some sort of B to C to D list Camp Rock actresses and actors were just roaming around taking photos with fans. I really felt like after hearing the All American Rejects perform Dirty Little Secret and kind of losing my mind.
Oh my God.
What year was I in? 2006, 2007, 2008. What time was it? What was happening? Hollister, Charlotte Russe, Wetzel's Pretzels, Jonas Brothers.
I love this. And I'm going to ask the controversial question. Where do you think this ranks among other conventions? I'm thinking TanaCon. I'm thinking MagCon, which is not MAGA-Con. It's MagCon, Cameron Dallas, and then VidCon, obviously the big one too.
Well, this is my first con that I've ever been to in person. But I do think that that's a really important question that you ask, because a lot of people thought that this was going to be an absolute disaster. The way that the rollout for JonasCon happened was totally nonsensical. There was a report from a tabloid that came out that said that the Jonas Brothers were having a hard time securing sponsors and that it was going to be a complete and chaotic mess. But when I showed up, everyone was happy, except for a little bit of a snafu with people who paid for VIP tickets, not thinking that they got their money's worth. But for the most part, everyone was happy. Everyone was excited to be there. And it wasn't the TanaCon 2.0 that people thought it was going to be. It wasn't the Fyre Fest that people thought was going to take place. And so it kind of ended up making no headlines because, I don't know, I think our sort of appetite for cons these days is if they aren't disasters, then they're not worth writing about or talking about. And so it kind of just rode the middle there. But I guess my final word on it is, if you are a Jonas Brothers fan and you went with the intention of having fun, it is most likely that you had fun.
Oh, I love that. And I could ask you about this all day, because when I did indeed ask you if you wanted to talk about JonasCon for a larger portion of the episode, you said, Candice, no, there's actually bigger topics we need to get to. And I think you're right, because today we're playing high-speed downloads. But first, let's take a break. When we come back, Nadira and I are going to explain the biggest internet stories of late in 1 minute, from Justin Bieber crashing out to the K-drama tragedy we need more answers to. All that and more after the break. This episode is brought to you by Saks Fifth Avenue. Shopping at Saks is the perfect way to discover the latest styles, elevate your everyday look, and refresh your wardrobe just in time for spring. At Saks, you'll find inspiration for every occasion, from casual outfits to special events. My favorite thing to do in my off time is to go online shopping, and I cannot recommend the Saks.com experience enough. They have so many of my wishlist brands on the website, from Amina Muaddi shoes to Alice and Olivia dresses. And it's spring, which means wedding season is starting up. Saks inspires me to discover looks for anything and everything on my agenda, from destination wedding dresses to shoes that can last the whole weekend. Whether you're refreshing your entire wardrobe or shopping for a vacation, Saks makes it fun and easy. So, if you're looking for a fun, effortless shopping experience and want to elevate your personal style, head to Saks. That's Saks.com for everyday inspiration. Listen to Sunrise on the Reaping, the highly anticipated new audiobook in the Hunger Games series by Suzanne Collins on Audible. Hear Jefferson White narrate the story of the legendary survivor, young Haymitch Abernathy. Revisit the world of Panem, 24 years before the original Hunger Games series. As the day dawns on the 50th annual Hunger Games, fear grips the districts of Panem. This year, in honor of the Quarter Quell, twice as many tributes will be taken from their homes. I'm so excited for this story because I've been a big Hunger Games fan since the first trilogy came out. I remember being in middle school, absolutely staying up all night to get through the trilogy. And this relationship has stuck with me through adulthood, and it's going to continue with the sunrise on the reaping because I will take any excuse to dive back into the world of Panem. Whether you're a passionate fan or just starting your journey, venture to District 12 and hear the story the world's been waiting for. Welcome to the 50th Hunger Games. Experience the worldwide best-selling series in a whole new way. Go to audible.com/sunrise and listen with the world. And we're back. Nadira, it is time to play one of my favorite games, High-Speed Downloads, where we each have exactly 1 minute to explain some internet hijinks. And Nadira, you're going first. What's your topic today?
Hell yeah. I'm going to be explaining the latest internet drama that puts one Rachel Zegler in the eye of a new internet storm that was started by a recent Variety article about Zegler and Disney's ill-fated Snow White remake.
Oof. We have a lot of thoughts, but Nadira, it's your time. Are you ready?
Ready.
Let's start the clock in 3, 2, 1, go.
If you hadn't heard, Disney's latest remake of the classic Snow White starring Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot has been mired in controversy since the start. It's a mess and is flopping at the box office. However, on March 25th, Variety published a piece titled Inside Disney's Snow White Fiasco, Death Threats, Beefed Up Security, and a social media guru for Rachel Zegler that feels like it blames Zegler for Snow White absolutely bombing. After the first official trailer for Snow White came out in 2024, Zegler thanked people on Twitter for watching and added Free Palestine to her tweet, which we knew. But what we didn't know was, according to the Variety article, this move shocked Disney execs who were like, why would you sully our good name that has no controversy whatsoever in any which way with a political statement, even though we're remaking a movie that is known for being extremely ableist in 2025. Apparently, Mark Platt, Snow White producer and father of Dear Evan Hansen himself, Ben Platt, flew to New York to ask Zegler to remove the statement, and Zegler stood 10 toes down and said no. Then Jonah Platt, Mark's other son, the not Evan Hansen Platt, in a now deleted post responded to an Instagram comment and directly blamed Zegler for the film's poor box office performance. And since then, celebrities and internet dwellers alike have been coming out of the woodworks to show support for Rachel Zegler, which is new for her. Pedro Pascal called her an icon, and now people are either super mad or super happy with him. Everyone's up in arms. It's absolute chaos, and that's the Snow White tea.
Woo! Very good job, Nadira.
Thank you.
Fantastic job, as always. I've been thinking about this, but before I give my reaction to the whole situation in time-honored high-speed downloads tradition, you get one more sentence.
Usually I would try and keep this to just one sentence, but I do actually think, for context, it would be helpful to read just a little bit of Jonah Platt's Instagram comment, since that's what people are mostly riffing off of online. He says, quote, yeah, my dad, the producer of an enormous piece of Disney IP with hundreds of millions of dollars on the line, had to leave his family to fly across the country to reprimand his 20-year-old employee for dragging her personal politics into the middle of promoting the movie, for which she signed a multi-million-dollar contract to get paid and do publicity for. This is called adult responsibility and accountability, and her actions clearly hurt the film's box office.
Yeah, it's like really hard when you leave your adult children behind to go fly a plane.
Exactly.
It's like how I leave my adult family behind to go to Target. Same thing.
Exactly.
Man, I mean, Nadira, it's wild because when I think about how the Variety piece kind of just like amped up a lot of stuff about Rachel Zegler that like I've been seeing online, but now it's really codifying into like mainstream hit pieces that are giving me a little Justin Baldoni, Blake Lively. Is that even like an apt comparison? Do you think this is a hit piece?
I definitely think it's a hit piece. I don't know if I would extrapolate it to Justin Baldoni smear campaign levels. But yeah, I don't know. This piece has phrases like Rachel Zegler, quote, trashed the beloved original, which is just not wording that you would use when you're reporting on it. The piece also mentions death threats towards Gadot because of Rachel Zegler's comments and alleges that Disney had to pay for additional security for, quote, the mother of four. And it's just one of those scenarios where while I would never doubt that Gal Gadot has received death threats, I'm also almost positive that Rachel Zegler has as well. It just seems like, of course, she has for being vocally pro-Palestine in the same way that Gadot has for being vocally pro-Israel.
I think like what constantly makes me laugh about situations like these is that there are always such big smear campaign-like discourse things happening about movies that are so bad. Like, first off, we've both seen Snow White. Do you want to give the quick letterbox right now?
It's so bad. It's so... Rachel Zegler is the only redeeming part of this movie. I think the music is annoying. I think the CGI magical creatures, because they're not calling them dwarves, are creepy. Gal Gadot gives literally the worst performance I've ever seen her give, and I say this as a huge fan of the Fast and Furious franchise. What are your thoughts?
Oh, I mean, hashtag I'm with you. I saw it like on assignment. And to be honest, I don't know if I would turn on Disney Plus and go for it. But here's the thing. I think the story around this movie is getting bigger than the movie itself. Why is it becoming such a huge internet story?
I mean, I'm sure that you have also clocked this, but to me, Rachel Zegler seems like one of the most chronically online celebs we have at this point. And it feels like, particularly in her case, the court of public opinion online almost entirely dictates like the trajectory of her career.
Yeah.
It definitely had a hand in taking down this massive mainstream movie. But would you agree? Like, have you noticed the same thing?
It's so tough because I personally think the internet really hates Rachel Zegler. And for a while, I've kind of been like, guys, something's fishy about this. And I need to like dive deep and figure out where I really stand. Because Rachel was a great Snow White. And I actually kind of like her. But the thing is, she's kind of a big deal, and yet on the internet, she's so hated. And I'm just like, there is a cognitive dissonance that I can't really put my finger on, you know?
It's multi-layered, right? Because to me, a part of it is obviously racism.
Yeah.
Especially with this particular casting. And then a part of it, and I've tried to nail this down in the numerous pieces I've written about her, for some reason, there are some celebrities who just do not come across well online to everyone and just are a thorn in certain fans' sides for reasons that we'll just never be able to ascertain or figure out. And she gets a little bit of that too, though I will say that I think the tide is absolutely turning with this whole development. People have really been coming out in full force in support of her after this whole Variety article.
Yeah, like I always say, if Pedro Pascal is on your side, you're on the right side, and stay on that side.
If Pedro Pascal called me an icon, I would retire. I would be like, all right, I'm done. I'm done. But anyway, let's pass it on to you. What are you going to be telling me about for your first high-speed download?
I'm going to be talking about Justin Bieber possibly crashing out on Instagram stories this weekend.
That is maybe one of the most beautiful sentences I've ever heard.
Thank you.
Are you ready?
I am ready.
All right, let's go. Your time starts in 3, 2, 1, hit it.
So the Bieber household has not been having a great time because recently a TikToker recirculated a 6-month-old, 18-minute-long video called Hailey Bieber's Dangerous Decade-Long Obsession by breaking it up into 7 parts. And it's about Hailey Bieber allegedly plotting to date and get with Justin Bieber before, during, and after his relationship with Selena Gomez. The revelations in this are not the most indicting nor new, but does this have something to do with Selena Gomez dropping an album with her fiancé Benny Blanco? Maybe. After the 7-part video went viral, a source went to TMZ and said Hailey was allegedly going to, quote, explore any legal action she can take against online bullies and haters, which brings us to Justin Bieber crashing out on IG this weekend. He's been posting a lot of birds. Okay, he's been posting like old paparazzi pictures, him FaceTiming what seems to be his baby. He's banging his head to gospel music. There's more birds. Close-ups of Hailey FaceTiming Minwoo Lee, who's a golfer who just won the Houston Open. During this, he goes on IG Live. He kind of like teases some weird new music. He's just bopping and singing along, but people are like, is Justin okay? Is he crashing out? Where's the new music? I asked the same thing.
Whew. All right, Candice, I got a lot of thoughts, but before we get into them, you get one more sentence.
Look, I have a feeling that this Justin Bieber crash out moment is unrelated to whatever's going on with Hailey and Selena and the love triangle that will never stop being 3-sided between them. I think Justin is literally just going to drop new music. Do you think that's what's going on?
Absolutely.
Okay.
There's been so much history with these three, mostly made by the internet, not actually involving these three.
Yep.
And Justin has been quiet about most of it, not all of it, but most of it. And so for him to start posting, some would say erratically online, I do think is just because he's making a comeback. But then my follow-up question is, do you think that this is even erratic posting? Like, is he actually crashing out?
Thank you for this question, because I really think we are now hitting the crash out apex. We are hitting a crisis, which is that I think this is not the right definition of crash out. To me, it's giving a little like teenage boy who just reset his Instagram password. And so I think we are kind of mixing up crashing out with, oh, we're so used to celebrities and influencers having extremely manicured Instagram presences. The grid must look like a grid. That maybe just the frankness or the authenticity of his post, the front camera of it all, is throwing people off. That's what I think is happening. But did it ping your red flags at all?
The ones that are in that weird tinted filter,
yeah,
those seem a little off to me. But for the most part, I just think that Bieber's always been a guy who's just going to do what he's going to do. And I'm not really going to worry until maybe I hear or don't hear the new music. Like, I think there's perhaps a time moratorium where it's like, okay, you were doing all of that, but that was a year ago and there's no new music. And I'm like, okay, maybe now I'm worried. But if he drops something, then it just feels like par for the course. I'm actually more worried about Selena Gomez's fans who make an 18-minute video basically claiming that Hailey Bieber has, I don't know, copied everything that Selena has done. Thoughts, Candice?
Well, look, I've watched the video. I've gone through the Reddit threads. I could have made that video myself. I personally don't think there's a lot of merit there. I never asked you what you thought about it because you've watched the video too.
Of course.
Of course.
I think it's all insane. I think it's all just that Selena Gomez's fans will always hate Hailey Bieber.
Yeah.
And also, in some way, Selena, because I don't think she wants to be dragged into this either. She's just like planning her wedding with Benny Blanco, which is a sentence I can't believe I just said, but it's true. And I think she just wants to release their music. And yeah, I think that that's what she's focused on. And this is just like a lot.
I know.
I will say that at this point, I do believe we've sort of cornered the market on Zegler, Bieber, Baldwin, Gomez talk. But we do have two more stories that I know we've both been thinking about a lot. So should we keep going?
Absolutely. But first, let's take a break. When we come back, the tragedy that left more questions than answers for K-drama fans, and the TikTok sports hard launch I can't stop talking about. Maybe you like keeping your money where you can see it. Unfortunately, big wireless carriers like keeping your money too. If you're fed up with crazy high bills, bogus fees, and quote-unquote free perks that cost more in the long run, switch to Mint Mobile. I have been on Mint Mobile's unlimited plan, and I really, really like it as a product and service. Mint Mobile is here to rescue you with premium wireless plans starting at $15 a month. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. You can use your own phone and bring your number along with your contacts. Ditch overpriced wireless and get 3 months of premium wireless service from Mint Mobile for $15 a month. If you like your money, Mint Mobile is for you. Shop plans at mintmobile.com/ICYMI. That's mintmobile.com/ICYMI. Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month, 5GB plan required, equivalent to $15 per month. New customer offer for first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details. This episode is brought to you by Saks Fifth Avenue. Shopping at Saks is the perfect way to discover the latest styles, elevate your everyday look, and refresh your wardrobe just in time for spring. At Saks, you'll find inspiration for every occasion, from casual outfits to special events. My favorite thing to do in my off time is to go online shopping, and I cannot recommend the Saks.com experience enough. They have so many of my wishlist brands on the website, from Amina Muaddi shoes to Alice and Olivia dresses. And it's spring, which means wedding season is starting up. Saks inspires me to discover looks for anything and everything on my agenda, from destination wedding dresses to shoes that can last the whole weekend. Whether you're refreshing your entire wardrobe or shopping for a vacation, Saks makes it fun and easy. So, if you're looking for a fun, effortless shopping experience and want to elevate your personal style, head to Saks. That's Saks.com for everyday inspiration.
Oh, ICYMI listeners, do I have a scoop for you? So what is it, you ask? It's that Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Now, before anyone goes suggesting that this is just a rumor, know that there's actual proof that this kettle of tea is not only piping hot, but 100% true. So, yeah, sometimes it pays to be a little nosy, but it always pays to discover. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report, learn more at discover.com/creditcard.
And we're back. Okay, Nadira, you are up again. What is your second high-speed download of the day?
Not to venture this too far into K-drama land, which I'm definitely guilty of from time to time, but there's been some massive recent developments on a story involving one of South Korea's hottest current actors, Kim Soo-hyun, and the untimely death of another Korean actress, Kim Se-ron. These developments have been blowing up on the internet internationally. However, I will caution before I get into them that this is a particularly sad story and does involve brief mentions of potential self-harm.
Mm-hmm. And I've been seeing a lot of headlines about this. Definitely want to get your take on it. Are you ready?
Ready.
All right. In 3, 2, 1, go.
Those who follow South Korean media were shocked to hear that 24-year-old actress Kim Se-ron was found dead in a suspected suicide on February 16th. However, things took an even darker turn when shortly after her death, a YouTube channel published videos and photos that allegedly proved that Kim Soo-hyun, a 37-year-old popular Korean actor, was in a 6-year relationship with Se-ron beginning when she was just 15. Se-ron's family then presented an alleged chat history of the actors from 2016, attempting to further prove some of these claims. 2 massive claims erupted. 1, that Soo-hyun groomed Se-ron and proceeded to have a relationship with a minor, and 2, that his agency pressured Se-ron to repay a loan she owed related to a drunk driving incident prior to her death, and the further assumption that that pressure might have had something to do with her eventual death. On Monday, March 31st, Soo-hyun held a press conference where he admitted that he and Se-ron had dated, something he had previously denied, but only for a year and not when she was a minor, and that his agency didn't pressure Se-ron about the debt. However, in the wake of his press conference, in which he didn't answer any questions from journalists, internet sleuths have been going to town, assessing leaked photos to poke holes in his timeline and pointing out that Se-ron died on his birthday. His legal team has announced he's filing criminal complaints against both Se-ron's family and the YouTube channel.
Oh, Nadira, you get one more sentence.
It's hard to really put into words how much of a fall from grace this is for Soo-hyun, but I will try. Queen of Tears was the most watched Korean TV series of all time on Netflix. It premiered last year. It won a slew of awards and was one of the highest rated broadcast series on TVN, which is a South Korean TV network. And Kim Soo-hyun is the co-star of this show. So this is coming right off the tail end of his popularity from that. And then after the scandal, so many brands that he had partnerships with, including Prada, had severed ties with him. And a production that he was filming with Disney Plus has also currently been paused. So it's been a huge, huge stopgap in his career and also just in Korean media overall.
Mm-hmm. And from your perspective, how much do we believe Soo-hyun's story in his press conference?
It's really hard to say because in the press conference, he does not answer any questions from journalists. And that is a known red flag no matter what country, what industry. If you're doing a press conference to address some pretty nefarious and serious claims, not answering questions from journalists is commonplace. It's very usual, but it's never going to read well to an audience, right? And also, when Queen of Tears was on, Se-ron actually posted and then later deleted a photo of them together that sparked dating rumors. And again, that was just last year. So if he says they only dated between 2019 and 2020, but there was a photo of them from last year that she posted. It's not looking good. And I guess the cherry on top is him walking back his previous comments when he denied that they were dating and instead said they were dating, but only for a year and when she was an adult. So yeah, I don't know. Obviously, only the parties involved know exactly what happened, but it's certainly not looking good to fans and to onlookers and everyone online.
Mm-hmm. And you did mention briefly like a drunk driving incident. What happened there?
Yeah, I should actually try and briefly explain this because it's a huge part of the allegations. So there was a drunk driving incident that Se-ron got involved in 2022. She was fined approximately $14,000 for it and got online backlash for it. And she was, up until that point, considered one of South Korea's most promising actresses. Mm-hmm. At that time, and this is where it starts to get really crazy, she was managed by the same agency as Soo-hyun, and that agency was allegedly co-founded by his relative. Se-ron's family claims that that agency covered the compensation for the fine for the incident, but also alleged that that agency later pursued legal action for a very quick repayment, and that Se-ron went to Soo-hyun and asked for more time to settle that debt, but that request went unanswered, and that him allegedly turning a blind eye to this whole scenario maybe put extra pressure on her, which if you read between the lines, Se-ron's family is basically claiming that the whole incident with the repayment of the loan and that pressure might have had something to do with Se-ron allegedly taking her own life.
Yeah, because that in itself is so tragic. I think the other tragedy of it all is just like young, famous Korean actors and singers and performers who get put into that system. they are taking their lives at rates that are just really, really scary. And then to have this kind of balloon out of that, it almost prolongs the pain, I'm sure, of her family, but also of fans who are just kind of like, what do I make of this? And so what do you make of how big of a story this is online?
Look, I obviously have an outside point of view, but to me, it seems that so much of South Korea's media prowess and its dominance in now Western media landscapes is derived from online conversations and opinions. And this is a huge story for people who are following Korean media. The internet right now is not believing a single word that Kim Soo-hyun has to say about any of this. They are taking out their magnifying glasses and they are combing through every inch of his timeline of this story. And I do believe that if the internet didn't care so much, he probably would be able to skate away from this quite easily. But obviously, the internet cares a lot and has voiced that and is really trying to become detectives. And yeah, it's put a lot of spotlight on him.
Mm-hmm. And this is obviously a huge story. It's becoming more and more international, and I'm sure there will be more updates developing as it goes. Let me know if there's some updates. Maybe we should bring it back, talk about it more in like 6 months' time.
Yeah, if there are any more updates, I will run to you first, and we will definitely talk about it. And now, Candice, if I'm correct, you have our last high-speed download of the episode?
Yes, I would love to end this episode on a bit of a lighter note. And so, if it's okay, I'd love to talk about the Ben Shelton, Trinity Rodman hard launch.
Those are a combination of words that I didn't know. I have feelings already, but I will let you tell the whole story. 60 seconds on the clock. Are you ready?
I am.
All right. Starting in 3, 2, 1, go.
This is a story of how a TikTok soft launch was parlayed into an Instagram hard launch because Trinity Rodman is a soccer player. She won Olympic gold. She plays for the Washington Spirit. She made headlines in December because she went on like Call Her Daddy, talked about her dad. Her dad is Dennis Rodman, the basketball player. They don't have a good relationship. Anyway, Ben Shelton is a tennis player. He is young. His father, also an athlete, now his coach. Ben Shelton, slowly raising his profile. Australian Open, big one for him. But iconically, more people on TikTok know Trinity than Ben, and I love that. And something to know about Ben, he likes to troll his fans. And in March, he jumped on this trend that starts with a Glorilla verse from ILBB2, which contains the lyrics they say shoot or shoot. Duke Dennis, what's up with you? On TikTok, in place of Duke Dennis, he's a streamer, YouTuber, gamer. People will write out the person they have a crush on, and so Ben does this trend, and in place of Duke Dennis, he writes T with 6 asterisks, which does line up with Trinity. And at first, people are like, haha, nice try, Ben, but then the same day, Trinity posts a TikTok with the same trend, and for the name, she puts 3 underscores, B-E-N, and on March 17th, they hard launch.
Candice?
Yeah.
I'm waiting with bated breath. What's your bonus sentence?
Nadir, I don't want to break your heart, so I'm going to explain to you what happened on March 17th. Ben Shelton, he posts an Instagram carousel after the Indian Wells tournament, and on the last pic of the carousel, it is a photo of Trinity kissing his cheek in an elevator. I know.
I'm covering my mouth for those who can't see me.
I know, but here's a question I want to start with. I go on Instagram. Who was the first person I see following Ben? You, Nadira.
Perhaps.
I didn't know. Are you a tennis person? Are you like a Ben Shelton person?
Big tennis person.
Oh.
Semi-big Ben Shelton person.
Okay.
Becoming a big Ben Shelton person.
Okay.
Look, this is not heartbreaking for me personally. It is more so that I am a huge fan of one tennis player named Coco Gauff.
Oh.
And I know that Coco and Ben are friends. And I had this fantasy, Candice, where they would just like fall in love.
I know.
And be together. Even though Coco was like, I would never date another tennis player after watching Challengers because that's really crazy. And I was like, oh, go girl, whatever. But still, I thought that maybe their love would defy the odds. Their love, which does not exist, by the way. I'm just really delusional.
I know.
So this is a hard pill to swallow. However, I will say, if it weren't Coco, perhaps the other person that I would choose for Ben is Trinity. So it's not all bad. How do you feel about this, Candice?
I want to stand in solidarity with you because I, too, was a Ben Coco fan. I mean, there was footage of them at the Australian Open, like, going to dinner together. And I was like, it's happening! It wasn't.
They're just besties. It's fine. I'll get over it.
So I do have a personal theory, which is that I think that Trinity and Ben were dating or had been connected. And instead of hard launching on Instagram first, They were like, let's tease the followers. They were like, let's do a little TikTok trend. Let's make it seem like this is the trend that kind of made us meet. And let's tease the soft launch and prime people up to the idea of like Ben shooting his shot at Trinity. And so by the time they post the IG, it's either, oh my God, Ben shot his shot and it worked, or
it was all planned. I actually kind of love the drama and cinema of it. Like, how do you feel about launches to begin with? And then how do you feel about teasing with a soft launch and then going in full with a hard launch?
Thank you so much for asking. I mean, I just like this story because I think it is really clever. We have two athletes pretty close to the top of their game using social media to kind of start a conversation that is outside of their like athletic ability. And it is pulling people in. I mean, Nadira, put me aside for a second. What about you? Are you a fan of the soft then hard launch? In fact, if you are going to hard launch someone, which platform is it going to be on? I just want to make sure I have my notifs on for that moment.
I love a launch of all densities. I really do. I think soft launches are really cute. I love when girlies are like, my man, and it's just his wrist. I'm like, you know what? And I'm happy. I'm happy for you. And then I also love a hard launch, but I will not begrudge people who shy away from a hard launch because I also fully understand not wanting everybody up in your business like that.
That's the tough thing of like, we just don't really know what it's like to be that famous, because is the better scenario for Daily Mail to have dropped photos of them together and been like, alleged dating? I think that's the smart thing. They kind of got ahead of it.
Yeah, and I think it's so much more fun for fans.
Yes, rooting for them. And Coco Gauff, I'm also rooting for you. So, I'm sensing a triangle. Oh, no.
If we ever need a challenger situation to arise.
No, I can see you on your laptop right now. You're making an 18-minute video. Oh my God, you have iMovie up? I can see it. I can see it in the Zoom screen.
Oh, I plead the fifth.
Okay, that's the show. We'll be back in your feed on Saturday, so definitely subscribe. That way, you never miss an episode. Leave us a rating and a review on Apple or Spotify, and tell your friends about us. You can follow us on Twitter at ICYMI_pod, and you can always drop us a note at ICYMI@slate.com.
ICYMI is produced by Olivia Briley and Candice Lim, with production assistance from AC Valdez. Daisy Rosario is our senior supervising producer, and Hillary Fry is Slate's editor-in-chief. See you online.
Or on Justin Bieber's Instagram Live.
If you work in quality control at a candy factory, you know strict safety regulations come with the job. It's why you partner with Grainger. Grainger helps you find the high-quality and compliant products your business needs to inspect, detect, and help correct issues. And the sweetest part is, everyone gets a product that's as safe to eat as it is delicious. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.